Good day, viewers. Welcome to Dominican College Talk Show. We'll be talking on the issue, who is to be blamed for examination malpractice? And I'm your host, APCK Constance Chemaka. With me on my right hand side, I have Mr. Shalom Owoye. On my left hand side, I have Mr. Destiny Ocheja.
It's my pleasure.
And the one sitting next to him is Mr. Sunday Adeshina. Examination malpractice is one of the biggest challenges in the Nigerian education sector. The incidence of examination malpractice is multidimensional in nature. The vice has eaten so deep into the Nigerian education system that it can no longer be ignored. It comes in numerous forms and can include any of a wide range of parties, including the examinees, the tutors, examiners, and other external forces. According to the Nigerian Guidance Report, out of the 1.5 million candidates that sat for WAEC in 2018, over 102,000 results were withheld. Also, in 2019, out of 1.5 million candidates, over 180,000 results were seized. According to the International Center for Investigating Report, that is the ICIR, about 20,000 students were involved in examination malpractice. Although the rate is declining, but the question remains, who is to be blamed for examination malpractice? Mr. Ochaja, who do you think should be blamed for examination malpractice?
Okay, thank you very much. I think from my own point of view, I think the parents should be blamed as a major cause of examination malpractice.
Mr. Sunday, who do you think should be blamed?
I think so that, in my own opinion, I do believe the teachers have to be blamed for examination malpractice.
Mr. Shalom, what is your own point of view?
Well, I think because the reference that all this is going about is the students, so the students are responsible for examination malpractice.
From what we have heard, it shows that the parents, teachers, and students are to be responsible for examination malpractice. Mr. Destiny, why do you think the parents should be blamed?
I think one of the major causes of parents being the major factor of examination malpractice is the issue of rushing. In this case of rushing, you see a parent will rush his or her children from one class to another, for instance, from primary 3 directly to JSS1, without minding if he has obtained the first school leaving certificate or not. And this child, when he finds himself later in the senior secondary school, can't cope. He or she can't adapt to the environment in the senior secondary school. So in order to pass both his internal and external examination, he has to indulge himself in examination malpractice. Then secondly, over expectation. Some of our parents expect more than they should. They expect more than the average of the child. For instance, how will a parent expect his average old child who brings out 60% overall to all of a sudden bring 100%? What magic will he perform? This child has to indulge himself in examination malpractice to please his parents. Thirdly, the issue of rushing. In this case of rushing, it has been noticed that most parents or some parents rush or jump their children. For example, from primary 3 to JSS1, not minding whether the child received the first school leaving certificate. All they're after is my child can read, my child can write, my child can study. And this child finds himself later in the senior secondary school and can't cope. All you have to do is to indulge in examination malpractice. Thirdly and fourthly, the issue of miracle center. This is a very rampant situation. But this miracle center is linked to my last point, which is lack of self-confidence. Lack of self-confidence. When a parent lacks confidence in his child, he will tell his child to go to miracle center. As we all know, miracle center, where miracles occur, that's examination malpractice.
Yes.
And when this child is stigmatized by the talks of his parents that you can't get 100% and you know that the economy is hard, there's too much things on my head, I only want to pay once, I don't want to pay twice, sort of this, which will bring lack of confidence. And when this is brought about, the child will just have to indulge in examination malpractice at the miracle center. So I think with all this numerous point of mine, these are the major causes why parents are to be blamed. But before I take my leave, I think paying of bribe is one major and detrimental factor which make parents the cause of examination malpractice. Most parents, not all, some parents do pay bribe to teachers, I'll say indisciplined teachers, just for their child to come out with good grades. And this teacher will fetch the student with AOC for the exam, which will make them indulge in examination malpractice. I think with this few points of mine, I think the parents are to be blamed for the cause of examination malpractice.
Mr. Sunday, why do you think the teachers should be blamed for examination malpractice?
Well, thanks for the opportunity. What Mr. Destiny has said isn't incorrect. Totally, the parents are to be blamed, but still, in my own opinion, I do believe the teachers are to be blamed. And why do I say so? Now, firstly, in the area of not covering the syllabus, especially this is most applicable to the external examinations, where students write all this work, NECO, JAMB, and all that. The students might be performing well in the internal examination because the teacher didn't cover much of the scope, the syllabus, and the student is restricted to what the teacher covers. So by the time the student, even though the student performs well in the internal examination, by the time he goes for the external examination, you cannot really give her the same output he does in the internal examination. And this can also result into the student being convinced to participate in examination malpractice. Although some people do say that the students can go ahead to read ahead of the teacher. Well, I'm in support of it. I'm not totally against it, but there are some subjects or some topics with some complex areas and with the intricacies, and at times the students can't understand this on their own. They do need a teacher to guide them through it. And also, teachers collecting bribe, like Mr. Destiny has said, parents giving bribe and all that. Yes, that's good, but it's also on the part of the teachers to collect the bribe. And if these teachers don't collect the bribe, then it's a win-win for everyone. No one is participating in the examination malpractice. But it is, some do give an excuse that the economy is hard. And that's why some of these teachers do collect this bribe. Despite that, I still think they should stand their ground and be disciplined not to collect these bribes. And also, I hope the government increase the pays and the salaries of teachers, and if possible, add bonuses and allowances for them like other professions. And also, another reason why I do think teachers are responsible for examination malpractice is in the area of not giving a strict vigilation during examination. A very common scenario will be a teacher comes, shares the examination papers and the answer booklet and everything, and just go to the back of the exam or pick up his phone and start chatting on social media. And once the students around see the teacher, the invigilation is so loose, it's not strict enough, you become encouraged to participate in examination malpractice. From little chit chat, it results into bringing foreign materials into the examination halls. And even students who were disciplined before, when they see this kind of thing happening, they too will be encouraged and convinced that they should participate in examination malpractice. So these are my views on why teachers are to be blamed for examination malpractice.
Mr. Shalom, what's your own point of view?
Yeah, thank you very much. The main objective of all this is to learn and give our opinions. Like Mr. Destiny said, all his talk was centered on bringing out disciplined parents, and Mr. Sunday was on the aspect of bringing out disciplined teachers from the society. And if we have disciplined parents and disciplined teachers, yes, you actually reduce the rate of examination malpractice. But we are forgetting the main reference of all this. If the parents do not engage in examination malpractice, they foster it. The teachers too do not engage in examination malpractice, they actually foster it. But the students are the ones who actually engage in it, and we should really focus on them. So for the first, why I think the students are actually to be blamed is because they don't use their time very properly. A statistic was taken, a survey was taken. I was seeing from the time of 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., about 3.5 million Nigerians are active on Facebook. That is a really popular social media platform. And those people are from the ages of 13 to 19. And those are actually teenagers, young teenagers who are still growing up, still in school. So if you see in Nigeria, the average time for school closure is 2:30 p.m. What time would they have to actually focus on their notes? They spend their time on social media platforms, chit-chatting and all that, and no time to actually study. Once they drop their phones, it's already nightfall and they have to rest for the coming day because they have school. And you see 2 weeks, 1 week to the exam, they don't have anything to really show for their study because you just take 10 minutes, brush through your book. That's not how to study. And the only way they can indulge is to indulge in examination malpractice. For the second one, I think they don't take charge of their lives. Students should actually know that they are not dolls. They are not
Little children.
yeah, they are not little kids. They should take charge of their life. Their parents shouldn't tell them to do everything at every time. This time I'm supposed to study. I have an exam in 7 weeks, in 8 weeks. If I don't study now, I won't be able to pass 1 week later. So they should take charge of their lives and actually do something with their lives. They are not little kids anymore. And for my last reason, I think, in my opinion, peer pressure. This is not actually a singular effort of a student, it's a joint effort. When you see a very bright student through primary school, through junior secondary, and then gets to senior secondary, you see he doesn't do well, his grades start dropping all of a sudden. And the teachers and the guardians are very surprised. They don't really know what's going on. They can advise the person, but this thing still keeps going. And you wonder why it's actually because of peer pressure. Through the primary school, peer pressure isn't really dominant at the junior secondary. We see that very well in the teenage age around the senior secondary side. And then no matter how someone may be strong and disciplined, it takes not really much time, and by the influence of friends, it can really change in a very short time. And this peer pressure will certainly lead to examination malpractice, no matter how you look at it. So those are my points on why I think students are the main focus that we should actually try to tackle here.
What is happening currently in the Nigerian society that you think we can link or trace to examination malpractice? Mr. Sunday.
Well, what I do observe in the society, that again, the scenarios are related to the consequences of examination malpractice in our society. Firstly, is the production of half-baked graduates. Let's take the engineering sector for example. You see, engineering recently in Lagos, a few months ago, some story buildings collapsed. I think about 21 to 22 story buildings. And these story buildings that collapsed might have been due to the miscalculations of these engineers. And perhaps if an investigation is carried out, it may be discovered that these engineers were half-baked graduates and products of examination malpractice. And also, in the area of, still within the half-baked graduate issue, production of incompetent teachers. Now, recently, I think June or so of this year, the Kaduna State government fired over 2,000 teachers because they believe they were incompetent. Now, people may say, what's really the big deal about incompetent teachers? But what they don't take note of is that these incompetent teachers will go ahead to teach the future generation and they will destroy their lives. And how do I mean that they destroy their lives? Well, they may not teach them what they really need to know, because you can't teach what you don't know. You won't cover the syllabus, and in order for the students to pass the examination, they may help the students to engage in examination malpractice so as not to get fired by the school authorities. And also another scenario that's related to consequences of examination malpractice in our societies, the soiling of our country's image. Now this is in the area of scamming online and all that. And these Nigerian youths that take their time to be scamming Yahoo boys and all that. When they scam people, especially non-Nigerians, it will bring a bad reputation for the country. And that's one of the reasons why you see Nigeria listed for bad things in the world. And well, these are the scenarios I just see that are related to consequences of examination malpractice in our society.
Mr. Choja, what's your own point of view?
Okay. To add to his own point of view, I think one of the major consequences of examination malpractice in the society is unproductivity. In this case of unproductivity, it's not a immediate effort or an immediate consequence. It's something that takes place later. When one indulges himself in examination malpractice, it tends to be unproductive. Why do I say so? Because one involves himself in examination malpractice because he don't have confidence in himself, you have fear, you have doubts. So when someone has all these characteristics, he tends to be unproductive. Such kind of people involve themselves in robbery, causing thuggery, causing chaos in the society, destroying public and people's property. Even these same people, go on to our highways, kidnapping people, robbing people, and demanding for ransom. Secondly, this unproductivity is linked to lack of self-confidence and self-reliance. When someone is unproductive due to the earlier cause of examination malpractice, this person can't do things on his own. You have to involve the strength of other people just to build himself. And lastly, these people, when they are unproductive, when they find themselves in public offices, they tend to mismanage the funds, tend to bring in corruption. And this is bringing a bad reputation in the Nigerian society. And lastly, I think this, like Mr. Sunday said, is soiled down the image of Nigeria. Since Nigeria is our case study, these people tend to be unproductive, and day by day, a single act of this unproductivity tends to reduce Nigeria's reputation day by day. But we don't know. But if this examination malpractice can be curbed, I think the reputation of Nigeria can go great and far places.
So unproductivity is just like a tree with many branches.
For sure.
Mr. Shalom, what's your own point of view?
Well, they have really said well, but I'll try to focus on the most important consequence. For me, in all situations, the greatest consequence someone can actually pay, the greatest price, is actually his life. And you see that people, for something they know nothing about, they pay the ultimate price. Take for example, a great instance just popped into my head. For the pregnant woman that was about to deliver, she was admitted into the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. There was a minor bleeding during the course of the medical process, and the doctors took it as something minor and it wouldn't really affect her life, so they continued with the process of delivery, not knowing that this woman was bleeding slowly to death, and she lost her life, and the baby too died. So what am I trying to say? These doctors actually quack doctors. There's no doctor that actually graduated well from the university that would actually do something like that. So you see plenty people doing this, and it's not something that's immediate effect like Mr. Destiny said. It's something that was dated back 10, 20 years ago, and just a singular act, a singular vice that some people thought that would just get them out of school, and that was all. It will actually cost a lot of people their lives. And the second, I think, for the case of teachers, like Mr. Sunday just shared with us, if incompetent teachers are constantly introduced into our education sector, it will have effect on the generation to come and the next generation. So what am I trying to say? If an incompetent teacher is introduced into a school, his incompetency, his indiscipline will actually be rubbed off on those children, because he believes in examination malpractice, and he will put in that negative value to the students because he won't teach well. He does not know what to teach, and the only way we can actually get good grades is examination malpractice, because he didn't teach them anything and they can't actually write what they don't know. And these people, these students, will grow up to become teachers someday and do the same thing for the next generation. So it's a continuous circle of incompetence and indiscipline. So if you can tackle that, you will really be great for the country. Yeah.
How do you think we can curb examination malpractice? What are the solutions to these problems, Mr. Shalom?
Well, like I said, we focus on the most important aspects of it. I think parents should really let go of their children a little bit. I'll give this instance. If you take two colors, let's say red and blue, and you paint red for a particular length, and immediately you keep the red aside and paint blue, the contrast is not really nice. But if you can blend in those two colors, you see, you actually get a very beautiful blend. What am I trying to say? Parents should actually put in that freedom factor a little bit for their children. So when they are in the next 5 years, 10 years, they don't see their parents around. They won't actually misuse that freedom factor there, and they won't fail too much in the case of real life situations. Like take for example, if a parent believes in the child to pass an exam, even though the child will come out with 40-50% at SS1, you should actually allow that child. Even if he fails, he will learn from his experience. SS2, he won't do that. SS3, he will learn from his mistakes. When he gets to the university, once he's done, when he's done with the university, when he gets out to the real life situations, he won't actually repeat that mistake he does, because people learn from their mistakes. I saw a quote in a particular parenting book. It says if your child has 30% chance of actually getting success in a particular thing, you should allow that child, because that 70% probability of failing is a 70% probability of learning from your mistakes. So 70% learning from your mistakes and 30% actually passing is a 100% probability of actually getting something valuable from an event. Yeah.
Is it really letting go of your children or guiding them?
Well, letting go, I don't mean completely letting go. Because in the next 10 20 years, once somebody is in his 20s, he's far from the parent and he has to live his life for himself. Because everyone is not going to be in a shell forever. So parents should really let go of your children a little gradually, so you can blend in that freedom factor fully. Of course, you have to guide them. Guiding, you can't leave your children alone, like I said. The contrast should blend in a little bit, so you can get a very outstanding child at the end of everything.
Mr. Sunday.
Well, my own suggestions. First of all, examination malpractice is more like a deadly disease that is better prevented than cured. And I think more of a joint effort to combat it, to curb it, will be better, because you can't just leave everyone on the spot. If you have disciplined teachers, you have disciplined parents, and you don't have disciplined students, the whole effort should just be in vain. So in the part of, also the government will also have something to do with it. So on the part of the government, I think the government should act on laws that have already been put in place. They should enact it, and when they enact these laws and people see they're serious with it, it also serves to prevent people, discourage them from participating in examination malpractice. And also the government should try to increase the salaries of teachers, and if possible add bonuses for like other professions, because teachers too have to be treated well, and if you give the teachers very good wages and everything, you're giving a very good and give out a very good output. So they want to be treated well, because we're all human beings. And also on the part of school authority, I think the school authorities too should do the same. Should follow after the government. The government should increase teachers' pays. They too should increase teachers' pays. And school authorities should also provide more invigilators in examination halls. When they provide those examinations, even if possible, they can provide CCTV cameras. It will be very good, because it will create that fear in the students not to cheat, and students not to be caught because of the high security there. And also, if possible, searching the students before the examination commences, because some of them may have foreign materials in their body, maybe written on their lap or something like that. You can search them out. And on the part of the students who have a key role to play, they have to study hard, put some more effort into their academics, and I also think they should reduce the usage of social media. And also, when I mean reducing the social media, I don't mean that they should completely cut off smartphone usage, because there are useful apps like e-learning apps they're like school and all that will benefit them. And also, the students should also read ahead of the teacher, and anything they don't understand, they should come to the teacher to explain it for them. And finally, on the parents' part, like Mr. Shalom have said, they should give them really space, airspace, guide, but however they should guide them. Maybe if a child shows interest in maybe computer at an early age, you get him computer peripherals and everything, gadgets, so that he start learning and add more interest to it. And instead of maybe because you see a particular parent, the child is a medical doctor and engineer and all that, you don't put pressure on the child that he must be a medical doctor and all that. If he's interested in computer, if he's interested in being a lawyer, let him go with it. But however, the parents should guide them, not force them. And they shouldn't give too much freedom. Because if you say, maybe your child say you want to become an armed robber or a scammer online and all that, no parent wants such a thing for their children. So you should just guide them to the right path in life. And well, these are my possible suggestions to curb the examination malpractice.
Over to you, Mr. Children.
Okay, in summary, I would like to say, to curb the menace of examination malpractice, everyone has to play a role, including the schools and the government. Starting from the part of the parents. Even the Holy Book says, train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he's grown up, he should never depart from it. So parents should train their child, not like as he said, not give them the total freedom, but guide them in the right path of life. For example, in this part, parents should not choose their career, the career of their children, but should guide them in the right career the children have chosen. And secondly, parents should encourage their child to do more. In this part, parents should try to be considerate than being desperate. They should try to consider the capacity of their children, the level of understanding of their children, than asking for more good grades, which will intend to involve the student performing examination malpractice. Thirdly, parents should be God-fearing so that you serve as great role model to their children. And this issue is connected with the issue of paying bribe. It's just like a continuous cycle, as Shalom said. If the parents pay bribe for his child to pass, even the child, when he's grown up, he has children, he has kids, he would like to pay the same bribe instead of hiring a tutor for his child to pass. Yes. And on the part of the teachers, firstly, you can't want a teacher who spent his morning, his afternoon and night just to bring out the best of students, not being paid well. So schools and government should put it upon themselves to increase the salaries of teachers and other bonuses. Secondly, some teachers should try to intensify their efforts in invigilating and coordinating students, especially in exam halls. When exam is going on, like even though they are not going to be there, but constant in and out of teachers should be reduced. They should supervise this kid with strict invigilations. And thirdly, teachers should search the students properly before they enter. And on the part of the students, who are the key factor, like Mr. Shalom said, on examination malpractice, they should make vital and judicious use of their time. In this time, like I said, they should not reduce totally the use of phones. They should minimize. They should minimize and avoid. And secondly, students should study and show that they really need to study, to work hard, because of the future results and effort. Because even the Holy Book said that study to show yourself approved. So if you want to be approved, so you have to study and put more effort. Lastly, corruption being the backbone of indiscipline should be eradicated in order to curb the menace of examination malpractice. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
We have heard and seen the causes and consequences of examination malpractice. Parents, teachers, and students all have a role to play. And the only way to curb this menace is to work on ourselves. Stay tuned for more interesting discussions. Remember, stay safe and healthy. Thank you.